Environments in which we live and the people around us can have a massive influence on the lives we live. Bronfenbrenner ecological theory is based on the idea that the environment has great impact on the growth and development of an individual. Bronfen and Brenner have observed 5 systems within this theory. There is the microsystem, which is formed in the environment in which we live and includes family, peers, school mates, religious affiliations, your workplace, and your neighbourhood. Then there's the mesosystem, which can be described as the interactions between the microsystems. For example, the mesosystem would be relating an experience at home to an experience at school, or relating an experience at school to an experience at church. Next, the exosystem, where the individual person does not play a role in the construction of experiences, but instead these experiences have an effect of the microsystems individual is part of. The next is the macrosystem. The macrosystem is vastly influenced by the culture and society that the person lives. An example of one of the influences could be a political or religious norm of the culture. Lastly, there is the chronosystem, which considers the person's collected experience that happen through the course of their lives. It is usually the major changes or developments in a person's life, such as getting married, divorced, having a baby. Lewis was born in 1993 and is the youngest of 4 siblings. Lewis's mother, Jenny, stays at home and looks after her children full-time. She became pregnant with her first child when she was 16 and never graduated from school or worked. Lewis's father, Ron, is a labourer. Ron left school when he was 14 to start working. These days, Ron works contract to contract, often not knowing how long he will be in between work for. The family are supported by the government and rely on social welfare payments as their most regular income. All Jenny and Ron's children have attended and graduated from primary school, but none of their attendance records or grades show suitable engagement or commitment. As Lewis's parents never went on to finish higher education or university, they do not see it as important. Lewis is conflicted in his views of education. When he is at home, he hears his parents talking about education being a waste of time and money. They often discuss how many people they know that never finish school and are doing very well for themselves. But when Lewis is at school, his teachers tell him how important education is and how it is a tool that can be used to build many new opportunities and experiences. This is a conflict within the mesosystem of Bronfenbrenner's model, when an experience at home is being related to an experience at school. In the Bronfenbrenner ecological theory, parents are noted in the micro and mesosystem. They are in with the people that can have the greatest influence over our lives. The National Institute of Child Health and Human Development state that family are in fact the most important microsystem for a young child, with research confirming that family are predominant in influencing a child's cognitive and language functioning. Therefore, Lewis's parents not encouraging him to engage in school activities and extra learning curricula develops a belief or view in Lewis that education isn't important. Research has also shown that when parents are warm and supporting and encourage positive learning experiences, they can protect children against the destructive effects of poverty. A great deal of research talks about programs that assert preventative strategies are far more effective than corrective programs. Unfortunately, when Lewis and his siblings were born, his parents were never part of a home visiting, childcare, or parenting education program that support and encourage positive behaviours that can influence their children. Australian Research Alliance for Children and Youth suggests rich language experiences in the home promotes cognitive readiness for children, but acknowledges that children from low-income families are least likely to experience rich language input. Lewis's parents often use slang to talk and swear and use abusive language around the children. The children often draw and look at newspaper comics as the family cannot afford to buy quality books that would introduce Lewis to rich literature. When Lewis was 4, he was enrolled in the Let's Read program that promotes reading with children up to the age of 5. The Australian government are continually putting more funding into programs such as these. Although this program showed promising results during the year Lewis attended the program, this particular program is only offered for children up until the age of 5. Therefore, Lewis was only able to participate for the 12 months. The following year, Lewis moved into preschool at a public school within walking distance from his house. Lewis was often late to school as he got himself ready in the morning and often woke up late but still tired. When Lewis was in grade 3, his father lost his job. Life events such as income loss can disrupt routine and usual house activity. Having insufficient resources to assist in resolving common problems such as car breakdowns, illnesses, or job layoffs can overtax the individual's capacity to cope, which can lead to a sense of powerlessness, which damages one's self-esteem and make it less likely that a person will engage in problem solving. As for Lewis's father, his job loss sent him into a deep depression and cycle of alcoholism and abuse. It often caused Lewis's parents to argue, and they divorced by the time he'd reached year 6. His mother and father attained joint custody so that Lewis would be travelling between his parents' houses. By this stage in life, Lewis had not grasped organisation and responsibility well, and often left his homework or school supplies at the wrong house. This meant that he often didn't get to do his homework and was getting in trouble for being unorganised. Lewis's first year at high school was tough. His grades were lower than average and he struggled to make friends. Lewis's mum was relocated to a new Homes West property and therefore he transferred to a closer school. This happened halfway through first term. When Lewis got to his new school, it seemed as if his peers had already developed their circles of friendship and Lewis struggled to break into already formed cliques. Lewis did not participate in after-school activities or recreational sport as he was never encouraged in primary school as the family couldn't afford it. When his parents divorced, it made this harder. Lewis found it hard to fit in high school. He did not have the money to buy the trendy clothing, he couldn't afford an Xbox, and he couldn't keep up with popular music because he didn't have an iPod. Lewis often spent his lunchtimes drawing in the library. Lewis's grades were borderline failing. Lewis did not enjoy school and started skipping classes regularly, but in year 9, Lewis's teacher took note of his background and the situation he was currently going through. She noticed that he was very creative and had a natural talent in drawing. She got Lewis in contact with the art department, where he changed his electives and started doing photography, graphic design, and art. This encouraged Lewis greatly. Not only was he doing something he enjoyed, it was also the fact that someone believed in him and praised him. Lewis's teacher encouraged him to go on to TAFE, in which he did, and studied a Cert 3 and 4 in graphic design. Lewis made great friends in his TAFE course, people that he could relate to and share interests with. He has now gone on to university to do graphic design. Adding Lewis back to the Bronfman-Brenner theory, it is easy to see how these systems can impact a person's life. With Lewis in the micro and meso system, his family, neighbourhood and peers caused a lot of pain and discouragement in his primary years, which affected his macro system of overarching beliefs and values. But that changed when the education system, government system, people in his school took an interest in him and supported him. These systems are continually changing throughout our lives. As for the chrono system, I'd say that Lewis being accepted into university will be a major development for his life.